York is a special place that is shaped by a rich history and incredible natural beauty.
My favorite place in the area would probably be the Godfrey's Cove area.
Summit of Mount Agamenticus and the York River are two of my favorite places here.
We're sitting on it, Hilton Wind Farm.
It doesn't get much better than this.
My favorite place is Highland Farm Reserve. I love it back here. I know it so well.
York is a microcosm of what you might find in all of the rest of Maine. We have, vast forests here. We have Mount Agamenticus with its spectacular views. We have the great ponds with clean drinking water. We have healthy rivers, miles of coast and beaches. And it's all right here, close to the population centers.
York is kind of unique in that the headwaters of most of the water bodies in town are actually located within the town of York. Whatever we do to the headwaters, we do to the beaches. If you don't have clean water at the beaches, you don't have a good tourist industry. And that has been York's mainstay for 100 or more years. So having the land and the headwaters of many of the streams and rivers protected is essential to maintaining the quality downstream.
There's a convergence that occurs here. The convergence is of the southern forest meets the northern forest. And within this convergence is the greatest diversity of wildlife in the state of Maine.
Having grown up in this area and spent a lot of my childhood traipsing around these woods, at the point when Highland Farm was going to be developed into a bunch of houses, really was an awful, sad feeling. Once you lose something like this, you can't get it back. So I'm so grateful that York Land Trust was able to partner with other organizations and preserve it.
I work for York Land Trust and I manage all these lands. The town was really significant in purchasing this property, so I think it's really important that it is used by everybody in the community. What we're doing out here today is working with third graders, and they're documenting habitat that was established for a species called the New England cottontail. What kind of habitat do New England cottontails need?
Shrubs. As our culture becomes more technology-based, kids tend to spend less time outside, generally speaking, and I think it's really important to connect them to our lands, especially our local lands.
What did we just see fly?
Herons.
Herons, that's right.
It allows each kid to explore in different ways. So some kids that don't shine necessarily in a typical classroom come out to the field or the vernal pools, and absolutely, it's like a totally different kid.
One of our aims is really to help cultivate the future environmental stewards of our community. When we can connect the kids to the land at Highland Farm and connect them with nature, we're really fostering in them a love for the land and for wildlife.
My brothers both lobster, my uncle lobsters. It's just bred into us, and I feel it's important to kind of hold up that tradition.
Well, I love lobstering. It's important to me to pass it down to my son and keep the family fishing heritage going. And my daughter has her business here selling lobsters, which has worked out well. It wouldn't have been possible to make this work without the land trust purchasing the conservation easement to help purchase the dock. So by putting the conservation easements on the wharfs, this will always stay working waterfront. It'll be a commercial pier. There you go, Muscles.
We really like to see that we can contribute to that long heritage of fishing in our community. We are always looking to protect the lands that our community treasures the most. Plaisted Field was once a 1,000-acre thriving dairy farm. We conserved the remnants of that farm, the last 10 acres. And you might ask, why conserve the last 10 acres? It's a small property and it had very little ecological value. But to the community, it has huge sentimental value. Plaisted Field and some of the other special places really define the character of York. and our collective sense of what home is.
It's important to support the York Land Trust because they can't do it alone.
They're creating trails on that property, and so we're hoping to connect with those and also to the lands across the street.
Oh, that's good. My mother saw the changes coming when neighbors started to sell property off. And she would look out the dining room window and say, oh, I can't stand the thought of these little houses over in the field. And that's when she decided to make the donation for conservation and put conservation easements on the property.
We love the Hilton Wind Farm. It has a river, it has water. John fishes here. We hike here. We snowshoe here. Cross country ski here. Being a steward of the land for me is just conserving the land and making it accessible for others to use and for future generations to use. One of the things for John and I was how do we give back some time or to our community, and this was our avenue for that.
I think my mother would be very, very happy with what's happened with the property, with the Youth Enrichment Center, with York Land Trust taking care of the fields and monitoring what's going on. Just, it's a present that she left, and I think she'd be really happy to know that people were enjoying.
That kind of generosity is awe-inspiring and so rare, and we're extremely fortunate to have such a culture of generosity here in York, and it's allowed us to do incredible things.
Whether you're a lobsterman on the York River, or you're someone who likes to bird at the summit of Mount Agamenticus, or kayak in Brave Boat Harbor, the work of the York Land Trust is helping to preserve, protect, sustain a range of values.
What York Land Trust is doing is trying to pick out those prime areas where land conservation will make the greatest difference and to target their resources on those areas. They've been partnered with the right organizations and the right people at the right times. The Mount Agamenticus to the Sea Conservation Initiative, they were integral in that whole process. All told, they've succeeded in every effort I've seen them approach.
We can celebrate the successes, but we also really need to do all we can to achieve the goals that are going to ensure a vibrant and healthy future for our community.
It needs our support. It just doesn't happen. It's voting for the funds out of the town budget to protect the Plested Field. It's the community support of getting out there, the stewardship of all this land, and of course it's always the financial support. It's protected a tremendous amount of land, and we're just lucky as a community to have it.
I think the York Land Trust is an amazing organization that takes into consideration the desires and needs of the town, the students. They look at future generations and work really hard to preserve what we have here in this town.